Go.
Hey everybody, I'm Zach Merbach, and I'm the audiophiliac just for one day, as Steve Guttenberg asked me to be the audiophiliac today. And today I want to talk a little bit about vintage guitars and my love of wood and how I kind of discovered vintage instruments. Years ago, I don't know, maybe the late 2000s, 2007, 2008, I got really into bluegrass music, partially because of my wife's father, Gordon Titcomb, who's a musician who used to play with Arlo Guthrie, does a lot of studio sessions and stuff. And so I got a chance to be around a lot of these great instruments. And, it's kind of when I had this realization that a guitar built by someone 5 years ago, just through the aging process, is not going to sound the same as the same guitar built maybe, 75, 80 years ago. So I got this kind of obsession with, different woods and old instruments. And that led to me at one point visiting this place in Michigan called Elderly Instruments. So I moved from New Hampshire out to Chicago for grad school. And, one of the positives of that is, there's a lot more opportunity to go try these instruments out in Chicago. And maybe a 3-4 hour drive, you go up to Elderly Instruments in Michigan, and you got to go up to the front and after you say to the guy, you say, "Hey, you got that 1932 OM28 in there?" And the guy looks at you, because I was, I'm 34 now. I think I was 21, 22, something like that. And the guy looks at you, he looks at you, he's like, "This is a $27,000, vintage Martin." And he went and got it to me, and I sat there and played it and dreamt about, maybe one day I could own one of these things. But I don't know, it's just that experience of sitting there holding this instrument, you hit the strings, the thing vibrates like the whole thing moves when you play it. So it's kind of that physical experience of having playing a vintage instrument. And then you can look at it, you smell in the sound hole, it smells like, your grandma's farts or something, something like that. And it's the special, it's a special feeling when you sniff the sound hole.
It's the secret sauce.
It's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
And but they have a special smell, special feel when you play them. And ever since then, I've been kind of started building acoustic guitars a little bit. And eventually, of course, that led to headphones. But just recently, maybe 7-8 years ago, I commissioned this luthier named Frankie Montoro, who's out in Utah, to make a replica of one of those instruments, because I knew I'd never be able to own a 1938 D28 Martin guitar, because I think the price in those is, if you can find one in really terrible condition, it's been oversprayed, it's like $50,000, and a good condition one's like 120 grand. So I had him make an exact replica. He used this stuff called hide glue, which you got to warm up to put in the guitar. All the special materials. He had old, neck rods that they had in a Martin factory in the 30s that they didn't use because they switched to ebony later on. And I finally got this guitar last year. And I'll tell you one thing. It does play a little like a new guitar, but if you smell the sound hole, it's got that same great smell.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. And so, I think that's why a lot of people buy these old instruments. It's not just because of how they sound, but, they just, the wood is dried out. When you get a new instrument, the kiln dried wood, it's like 6% or something. This wood is like bone dry, and that's why it cracks sometimes and stuff. And I've heard a lot of luthiers and stuff say some of the greatest instruments they've ever played are ones with like a huge hole in the back of the instrument or a gouge in the sound, completely structurally messed up, but sound amazing just because of all the aging process it's got.
That's
so
why Willie doesn't fix his guitar.
Yeah, if he fixed it, it wouldn't have that Willie mojo.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just been something that kind of a hobby of mine for years. And
next thing you know, you're making headphones.
Next thing you know, I'm making headphones. Who knows? Maybe the headphones will sound better in 70 years. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Zach.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye.